and like, don't be afraid to fail. It's like the most dangerous guy at the bar is the guy that's not afraid to get rejected.
Yeah. He's gonna grab at the end of the day.
He's gonna find someone. Yeah, come on, because he's gonna give his best line. He's gonna get rejected. And he's gonna be like, you know what? All right, I tried. I shot my shot. You have a nice night. And then he's gonna fucking continue. Where the person that's afraid of rejection is gonna spend all night looking at this one girl, probably never say anything to that person. Go home and be like, man, I fucking wish I said something. And the thing is if that person by the end of the night, the lights turn on at the bar and they go to say something to that person says, oh, I'm already taken, but I appreciate it. You end up feeling better. You don't go home disappointed. You're like, damn, I tried. Fuck, she was taken. Whatever.
You lose the what if of it all.
Yeah. And if you just did that in the beginning of the fucking night, you could have, you know what I'm saying? Your night turns out differently.
Going to your analogy, it's also, you know, what you just said, the rejection. You elevate every rejection. Like when you're brand spanking new and your dick is still in the wrapper and you're going to the bar and you see this fly chick over there, you're going to be like, hi, excuse me, I just want to, you know, you're really nice. You seem really pretty. Can I buy you? And she's going to be like, get out of my face.
That's the best case scenario, bro. I would have messed it up way worse.
You need those. Yeah, it would be way worse. You need those so that you level up. You start at level 1 so that you can go back at like a level 100 and don't do it like this. But you can finally walk up and be like, hey, bitch, what's going on? Like, we gonna make this happen? And she could be like, no, I was just playing anyway. And you just go somewhere else.
Yeah, so, like you could, it's you're right, man. I think more people should seek out failure because it doesn't kill you, man. It's like it doesn't even feel nearly as bad as you make up in your head. Like people are so afraid to be wrong, and then when you're wrong, it's just like, fuck, I'm wrong. Whatever. Like people are wrong all the time. Don't take it. You just move on. It's like never that bad. We associate, you know, the rejection. Like the girl's gonna be like the girl's gonna turn around and laugh at us, and then the whole bar is gonna drop their drinks, and the record's gonna skip, and everyone's gonna point in our face and laugh like, he got rejected. Oh my god, what a loser! And you're gonna walk home in the rain, right? And like none of that shit happens. Life goes on. It's all right. You get better.
Even if it did, but you just started out, you'd be deathly afraid of it.
Yeah.
By your 8th or 9th rejection, you'd be like, everybody, look at this. I'm about to kick game to this girl. If it's not, you could just sit back and point and laugh, and I'll laugh with you. Like, I don't care anymore. Like, you have to take those lumps. I've never met anybody that became great at something doing it the first time.
No, you know,
I've never met anybody do that.
It's honestly, I think it's almost worse to do that. So a good example is I had it's like an amateur fight. We call them smokers. And my coach knew I had the wrong game plan. I was very, very emotional. I really wanted to, you know, I wanted to go in there and like take this guy's head off. And I was like emotional about it. And I turned it into a fight, not like a kickboxing match.
Right.
And as soon as we said go, bit down on my mouthpiece, ducked my head in, boom, cracked him, looked at me, he cracked me, and it looked like a bar fight. And I go back to my coach, and I was like, I can't breathe. My muscles are seizing up. Like, it was an adrenaline dump. It was my first time doing something like this. Like, I've trained, and I've gotten to street fights and stuff like that, but this is different. This other guy was training to beat me up, and I was trying to beat him up. We knew who we were going up against. Weighed in the whole 9. I go to my coach and I was like, damn, that fucking sucked. Like, that was not what I thought it was that's not how I wanted to execute my game plan. And he goes, but we had to get it out of the way. And I said, damn, that's really smart, because now I know exactly, like, now I need to let all the emotions go. I need to be objective with it. I need to out technique my opponent. And he goes, I was honestly afraid. And I said, afraid of what? He goes, I was afraid you were going to knock him out in the first round. And I said, why is that? He goes, because then you would never learn any of this. Now, the second fight, I have to have you go and dump your adrenaline, because you have to feel that to know that you never want to feel that way again. You have to stay composed. And I was like, damn, that's right. Because the thing that I was hoping for, just like everyone else, when they get into a fight, I wanted to hit him once and I wanted him to hit the ground. Or I wanted to hit him, walk out, fucking not even break a sweat, not get punched once, knock him out, and I walk out. And I wouldn't have learned any of all of that shit that I learned in that struggle and in the failure. I failed. I did not execute my game plan correctly. But now if I go back, it'll never be like that ever again. I needed that. And my coach at his level saw that and kind of not let me like fuck up the first fight, but the amount that I learned on that first fight is it's unreal. It's unreal. And he saw that I needed to experience that. It's like if you had someone younger and they were like, I'm going to go talk to her, and you knew they were going to get rejected. You saw the girl's boyfriend walk into the bathroom real quick. You're like, yeah, go talk to her, because you want him to fall flat on his face so that he can see that, yo, you're fine. All right, now let's go to someone that you actually have a chance with. It's the same thing, man. It's like, it's so spot on. And yeah.
I like your coach's mentality on that one.
Hey, relax over there. I know you're the toughest. We're trying to be professional over here.
I have an opinion too. Good move by your coach, man. I like that.
Yeah, it was fun though too, man. I don't know if I sent it to you. I'll send you the video. It was a lot of fun. But
I never got the video.
Yeah, it was an experience. It literally, we touched gloves and we just duck our heads and sock them like the sock 'em robots.
Speaking of fighting, man, congratulations on looking like a younger Batman Ben Affleck. You're just looking.
This is just laziness, bro.
You're just looking beautiful. God, I just want to hug the screen.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying.
Yeah, dude. Originally, we wanted to talk. Like we were saying earlier before we went into everything else. Well, it was a great conversation. But we were talking about, okay, pandemic, global, police brutality, protests, violence, looting, rioting, killer hornets from Japan. In that mix. And it was crazy because things were coming at us in waves. So I always chuckle because like, dun, 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 killer hornets from Japan.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, that makes sense.
But people were just like, whatever the fuck ever. Like, nobody cared.
Yeah.
And it was a non-news factor a week later. Like, once in a blue, somebody be like, oh, I saw a dead one there. So, there you go. There's your update. One dead one was found on the floor somewhere. But lost in all that, way more important than killer hornets from Japan, was proof and acknowledgement from the government that UFOs are here. Like, they were there. We have proof. There it is. And everybody just didn't even acknowledge it.
Bro, thank you. Because I don't know how people don't think about this on a daily basis. And I'm not an alien enthusiast. I am not someone that thinks that. I'm not an alien expert. I am not someone who's going to say, I've encountered the aliens. They probed me. None of that. But bro, everywhere I'm turning, it's that, right? I hate to be like this guy that's like, I watched this documentary and then, but.
I love documentaries. Nah. See, it goes back to the knowledge.
Yeah. Bro, I watched this documentary called, oh my God, I'm not going to remember the name of it now. Fuck. Unacknowledged.
Okay.
Let me double check this. It's either unacknowledged or like unacknowledged documentary. Yes. All right. So I think everyone should watch this fucking documentary because essentially, too long, didn't read it. A bunch of people that work for different people in the military and NASA and this and that, and very, very smart people all report. They take a court case to whoever they would go against. I don't know, the government or whatever, and talk about all this evidence of contact with UFOs or aliens or whatever. People that have seen, they say that, yeah, I've seen it. I've been in the spacecraft. I've seen an alien. I've seen whatever they're saying. And they go to court to try to get this information out. The fact that I didn't even know about this case happening, bro, that they made a whole documentary about it. And now I'm watching the documentary. I'm like, yo, why didn't they make more of a fuss about this? And then I'm watching Unsolved Mysteries. That's on Netflix.
Dude, I saw I'm on like 3 episodes in. They're pretty good.
Yeah, most of the episodes are about murderers, right? It's
Yeah.
about someone gets killed and they don't know. I want to say like,
how the hell did he fly off the roof?
Yeah,
and
right.
land
Like
in a
there's
hole?
the mystery hole. Yeah. Yo, you're gonna get to an episode on aliens that's gonna blow your mind.
Nice. Okay.
Because what happens is there's an episode where people in this town report all sorts, and it's pretty spot on. And like they don't know each other, and it transcends generations. So it's a grandmother, a mother, a daughter, who all on that same day were like, yes, something happened, and someone else in this small town, and they're all talking about this. And then it even goes to like one of my, Fazio, right? So
yeah,
normal dude. His dad is a normal dude. When we were growing up, would tell us stories about how something had happened where people in the town saw a light or something moving, and the news reported it the next day, and then no one ever said anything about it ever again. Like he said, like, poof, gone. No one even, news never. And back then, he's in his 60s, I want to say now. So back then, it was like there was no internet to look it up. There was no cell phones to text everyone and see pictures of it. If the news and the radio wasn't talking about it, you didn't hear about it. If it wasn't in the paper. So he said, like, one day it was in the paper, news, at radio, everyone's talking about it. The next day, like, got like it never fought, like no one even said anything about it. And it's one of those things that, like, bro, not for nothing, I cannot believe that, like, we are not questioning this stuff more.
When the government goes, okay, yeah, we acknowledge, and it blew my mind that was such a, like, nobody gave a shit.
That's what I'm saying. They could essentially come out and be like, yeah, I mean, they did. They came out and said, there's evidence of aliens. And people were like, all right, yeah, all right. When's that election coming up?
Yeah.
Like, bro, are you serious? And people want to talk about changing the world and change. If there were people, aliens, if you believe that space is infinite, then you have to believe that there's other living things out there. You have to, by definition. This is the philosophy minor in me coming out. So, right, I was like, when I went to college, I was a computer science major, so very logical and fact oriented, and the philosophy minor, which throws everything upside down. You're looking at like all this evidence of this existing, and then people being able to say like, yeah, it's out there, and we're not questioning this. There's other people that can, I say people, beings that can potentially travel in space, and they've made contact with us, and we're not curious about how to use that technology to better us.
I think part of that is, going back to what we were saying, like, nobody can be wrong. Like, the people that are like, aliens don't exist, they can't acknowledge that. They can't look at that video and go, shit, I might have been wrong. No, that's got to be something else. It blows my mind, the fact that there are still people that don't believe. Like, okay, just the breakdown, like you said, if it's infinite, every star is a sun. Every sun has a solar system. There are trillions of stars in the universe. We are the only thing that exists. The arrogance of humans, dude. The arrogance to go, this is just all for us. It's all for views. Nothing else can be out there looking back at us.
What's worse too is like this documentary doesn't really talk, the unacknowledged documentary. So if you watch the thing on Netflix, the alien episode on Unsolved Mysteries, it's very much about a town's experience with aliens. So it's very much like, here's proof that aliens exist.
I'm very interested. What was the name of that documentary again?
So Unacknowledged is what I'm going to talk about right now. Yeah. So the aim of that documentary, Unacknowledged, I think it's on like Hulu or something. I can't remember where I watched it. When I watched it, though, the documentary itself isn't really about the fact if aliens exist or not.
Okay.
The documentary isn't like trying to shove, these are all the facts of why. What it's essentially saying is like, no, they exist. Just they exist. Here's enough. And they started off with this person saying they saw this and they did this and all just a lot of evidence. I mean, you're talking about pictures and people that are reporting the same exact thing that don't know each other on different sides of the globe. It's like, you'd have to be
the conspiracy behind that.
Like either these people it's like the Illuminati of aliens, and it's just this big hoax that they've been able to somehow communicate, like, which maybe it's the case, they're all lying the same lie, or maybe they exist. And this documentary really goes into like the fact that the news outlets and everything control the information that we get. So like, we won't continue to believe it. And if we do, and they show these ads, which are incredible, the idea is like the Cuban Missile Crisis was a conspiracy theory, is that it was self-shot. That missile was shot by the people trying to start the war. A more recent example could be a popular conspiracy theory is that we flew a plane into the World Trade Center to start the war, right? This happens all the time.
Right.
This happens all the time. There's a conspiracy theories about the Sandy Hook shooting, that really didn't happen, and that it was kind of staged to increase gun control. This happens all the time.
Shooting.
Yeah, and this is like, it's an actual strategy that's been used. If they were to do that on a global scale and got us afraid of aliens, that we would have a global regime that's now our security against the aliens. And there was ads and commercials back when like the boom of aliens happened, like when a lot of people were saying they saw things, and like around Roswell or whatever the case, of military ads that were like, come join the army. And it was the like essentially like the intergalactic part of the army, and the ad was like, we have to make ourselves safe against the alien, like already instilling fear in us that if there were aliens, we would go to war with them. Which is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
We have a reenactment of what would happen, and they would just show a clip of like Independence Day blowing up the White House.
But I mean, the funny thing is, right, it's like if there were really aliens out there and they really did contact us, that means they can travel between planets. Are we winning that one? Like,
that's almost like we
no
are.
Reason, it's like we're like the fly to the heel of, you know what I'm saying? Like, if they wanted us dead, here's proof that they don't want us dead. We're still fucking alive.
Yeah. That always blows my mind is, well, we would have to combat, and like, we're not doing anything.
No.
Their technology just to make it to this planet is like they could probably finger gun us to death.
Yeah. And they talk about the and I don't know how much of this you want to go into or whatever, but like they talk about the reasons why the aliens would come around when they did, and every single one pretty much said that, like, and this is what I mean, the documentary that I watched here, or the show here, or my friend's dad over here, or this thing that I saw on Joe Rogan's podcast, because they just talked about aliens not that long ago, or this, all kind of say the same thing. And everyone that's thinks that they're in the know, and they say that they're in the know, they all say that they think it's the aliens were coming down because every time there's been an alien sighting, it's been around a nuclear explosion, and that might set off something that they would know if you have the alien technology, like, oh shit, that planet just had something fucking happen. Let's go make sure that shit is contained. What's going on over there? And that would be the reason why aliens would come here, because it's just one of these things. It's so funny. Again, when you step away from the situation, they can't possibly come here for war. If they wanted to come here for war, we'd be fucking dead.
Yeah, it'd be over.
It'd be over. They can trade and then you talk about the technology that they, you know, they're the spaceship being able to fly from here to here to here to here in seconds with no combustible engine. It's just no sound. It's just moving.
And I know like a lot of they say aliens communicate in telepathy. So this is what we're gonna that's what we have to battle. This is what we're gonna Will Smith.
Something different, I can fake it out, and then I'll dodge its laser, and then it's machine that moves, that it can't be tracked and moves at the speed of God.
Then you hear,
predict where it is. Like, come on, yeah. It's just
then
like
you hear a voice go, "I hear everything you're saying." Like, fuck. Like, yeah.
yeah. Oh, I have to change the whole plan. Am I really gonna do that plan? Yeah,
Or
dude. It's
am I
insane.
gonna do that? Reverse psychology.
But I just think, yeah, I think that it's one of these crazy things that in the documentary they also talk about the technology that they have would be world changing. Maybe like they talk about perhaps sustainable energy and all these things, and a lot of the reasons that they can't talk about it in full details because we don't understand it. Just like we wouldn't understand a vehicle that moves without it. The way that they made it seem was almost like the spaceship was controlling gravity instead of we're in a plane. You're pushing air out. You're creating you're pushing air out to get this thing where it was almost like magnets. Like it would just go and go and go, and it would just zip here and zip there. We can't comprehend that shit, or else we'd be using it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like but a lot of the things that the big reason that the main guy in the Unacknowledged documentary is continuing to like whistleblow or try to bring awareness to this is because he honestly believes that the technology that they have found from these encounters that they have could really change the world. And here we are in 2020 when the world has gone to fucking shit. And no one's talking about this. Everyone's talking about doing this protests and rallies and the election coming up, and is COVID this or COVID's not this, or wear your mask or don't wear your mask, or whatever the fuck is going on right now. But like, what if the whole landscape of our world could change based on information that isn't getting let out? That is what's crazy to me. That's what I think about all the time. And I also think about like, fuck, like what would that mean if we could actually talk to a being or communicate with a being that lives on another, like we'd be able to ask them so many questions. We would open our possibilities to all these things that we don't even comprehend. We can't comprehend a world that has sustainable energy for everyone. We can't comprehend a world that has absolutely no poverty or hungry people. We can't comprehend that because we believe that this is it. This is as good as it gets. And here you are, you watching this guy. He's like super duper smart guy, very well educated, had a high seat in NASA or the CIA or wherever the fuck he was working. And he's like, no, if they just let this information out and other people can kind of get their hands on it and we can have an open discussion about what the fuck this actually is, this might hold the power to, you know, it's like finding a mineral or something that we never knew existed, and it does all these things, and we're not going to talk about that though. We can't let anyone see this.
God, while you were saying that, I thought about maybe the only logical reason, because again, all those things make sense, and yet we have footage and the government says, no, that's a UFO.
Yeah.
And we don't even acknowledge it. So when I guess my theory that just kind of came real quick was people show their ass on a pandemic level. Toilet paper went all like, you just saw the worst in people. And that goes back to individuals as groups. I've met a ton of great individuals during this thing that have wanted to help out and weren't being an asshole. But you see the groups of people together in a Walmart or something, and you just see the worst of people. But part of, I digress, going back. Part of what we were saying was maybe, God, if we're acting like this for just a pandemic on this level of people, what would happen if we really, like, people would be blowing their heads off?
Yeah. And that was the guy's biggest fear, is that they can use the fear of like a intergalactic war to create this global military that would then control us, right? Like if they get us afraid enough, we've already seen it. All we have to do is be afraid. And if we're afraid enough, we're going to do it just turns into chaos. Chaos.
That's the kind of people that we are, man. We are warlike, fear-driven people.
So what brings me to the next point is that if I was an alien and I did come here to check shit out and I saw that we were nuking ourselves and this is how we act, like, of course, why would you help that? You'd want to keep that planet as fucking isolated from the rest of everyone else. You can't save us, right? Like if
Oh,
you
we're
really think about, and this is what I mean by taking a step back, is you start thinking about all these things and you start thinking about, okay, you have to assume that if there was a planet with beings on it that could travel between the planets, they're going to be more sophisticated than us, at least with technology, right? Why would they share that with us? That's like giving the caveman that's like giving the caveman that doesn't know anything access to fire, and now that guy burns everything down because he doesn't even understand it.
that's just like God. That's just like somebody, just some raving lunatic with an empty gun, and you're just like, here, buddy, I found all
Yeah.
these bullets. Why don't you
Yeah.
just
Here. You don't know
let
what they
me?
do either, but here.
Yeah,
Have
yeah.
at
Just
it. Yeah.
give it a whirl. Let me
You
know
have
how it
no
goes.
concept of life and death, and it's insane. It's insane. But what's crazy to me is I honestly think about this every day. I think about, because it would just change. It would change everything.